All right, what's good, man? Y'all already know what it is, and I'm back with another reaction video, man. I know I was supposed to go do a drop yesterday, but y'all know how I do. But I'm back today, and Wack 100 and Adam22 is on the Wack and Adam show, and they're talking about the whole Luce Cannon situation. Now, we know that there was a big fallout between Luce Cannon and Wack 100, man, which I find to be funny. But we're going to see what Wack and Adam has to say about this, man. So buckle your seats. Let's get right into it, man. I ain't going to hold y'all too long. We're going to get into this content.
It's one day or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
We figured out.
No hard feelings. That's good. We got it over with. So, okay. Luce Cannon has really taken a more adversarial stance against you over the past couple of days. It seems like he's decided that he really wants the smoke.
Yeah. That's a situation. But one R&B kind of like got on me. She had been on me. And I think what I did, what I shouldn't have done, because I got a bone to pick with you after this podcast too.
Uh-oh.
What I shouldn't have done
Do it on the podcast.
What I shouldn't have done was, you know, you hear a bunch of shit and you just don't say nothing. It's like you hearing a bunch of shit I'm doing behind your back and you just don't say nothing. And you look up and it's 5, 6, 7 things, right? And it just one day you just explode.
Right.
So all of a sudden, Wack is saying that he been seeing stuff that was going on behind the scenes with Luce Cannon. But at this point, he waited till Luce Cannon was in jail after the Jay Reed situation, after him allowing Luce Cannon to come on No Jumper and say some of the craziest stuff about Big U, claiming that Big U had something to do with the unaliving of Nipsey Hussle, allowing him to say things like Big U was handing out straps and writing down serial numbers and all the other stuff he said about Meat Mill and all the other stuff he said. And finally, he had this revelation that possibly he shouldn't have been dealing with Luce Cannon.
So I think that's kind of really what happened. And I'm gonna be real. I'm very crafty with this stuff. Extremely crafty. I'm strategic with it. And I fight these type of things different. When you think it's just a head on, I'm gonna fight you from behind you, from above, and come from up under you. And it's all like mind manipulation.
What I will say is Wack 100 is a great spin artist. He's mastered the art of changing the narrative, and a lot of y'all fall for it.
Right. And because he's where he's at, and I know him, I know how to push his buttons, what to say, just what to do, just what to expose, to send him over the edge. You got to remember, he has to fight me back from what he says, right? I'm not going to even put him in that type of situation to put himself in the trick bag on that phone. You get what I'm saying? Because once I start jabbing and doing and saying shit, right? At that point in time, me knowing him, he's gonna blow a fuse. And then most people would sit back and laugh once he starts to say and do things to twist himself. But to me, it ain't really a laughing situation to contribute to him adding to his situation, right? On top of that, I'm gonna be real. I never really played the game with Luce Cannon. You know, when I talk to Luce, I talk to Luce. You know, I never recorded phone calls unless he asked me to. I remember one time he was talking to his dad because he was trying to clear something up for Eddie Boy or something. He like, Wack, record the call so Eddie Boy know I tried. Shit like that, but I never really did none of that with him. Whenever he was talking to me about things, but you know, it's things I know, it's things that he don't know I know. And maybe I should have told him, right? But all this did for me is kind of say, Wack, you know you should have been put closure to that.
All right, so at the end of the day, man, what I'm getting out of this, because Wack's saying a whole bunch of whatever right now, but I feel like Wack got some type of love for Luce Cannon. I'm not gonna lie. Like I know that Wack done said some like outlandish and wild stuff about Luce Cannon. Luce Cannon been throwing his own shots at Wack. But ultimately, I feel like for some reason, even though Luce Cannon was going at Wack prior to them being cool, I feel like once they did get cool, Wack had some sort of love for Luce Cannon. And the proof is in it when Wack can sit up and say he didn't record no phone calls with Luce Cannon. That's shocking because Wack 100 records phone calls with damn near everybody he talks to. He's the phone call recording champion from Pacoima.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna tell you,
just double check is the audio for the TV's turned off, right?
Yeah, because I didn't know it was gonna start playing.
Oh, okay, because it did start playing.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure that they can't hear it. Sorry.
And it was like it was a couple things that was done that I really like looked at it and said, "Oh, it's like some sabotage type shit."
What do you mean? Self-sabotage?
Not self-sabotage is when you doing it to self.
Right.
But when somebody that's supposed to be kind of right there with you starts to do things that could affect things that has nothing to do with them but just you, you know, you're supposed to see that. But I kind of dismissed it because it was like you doing with Lush. Maybe he wasn't thinking.
Uh-huh.
That's why I know Lush do one more time, think he out of here, right? Like the situation with Game, right?
With Luce and Game?
Yeah, like when he went at Game on the internet.
When did he do that?
I didn't know nothing about that.
That was before you guys were cool?
But he understands that me and Game's relationship, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it may be, like, you've never heard me say anything bad or down in Game. You know what I'm saying?
Clearly care about.
Is it the fact that Wack is holding, and this is a rumor, right? And I know this ain't got nothing to do with this conversation, right? But a lot of people have speculated that Wack 100 is holding like Game's money and helping him hide the money from that lawsuit he got. So in return, Wack is like pulling the strings like a puppet master with his money and all the other things that possibly is in Wack 100's name that he signed over to Wack. Yeah.
Relationship.
No, that's my brother. I love my brother to death. You know what I'm saying? Period. Right? That's for life. Right? So, you know, my phone went crazy because people, when you let somebody get that close to you like that and they do things, they don't believe that you didn't know they were going to do it.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So, you know, good thing Game called me. That's how I found out, because he called me. So I called Luce Cannon. Game know me. I called Wack, and Wack downplayed something up. I called Wack, and Wack called Luce Cannon and asked him, yo, what the fuck is going on? And then Luce told me, man, he was totally wrong with his information. You know, he was, man, I thought this. I said, well, everything you saying is not right. That didn't happen. Game didn't do none of that, right? You can't fault a man for being at a celebrity party. On top of that, I never put the burden on my artists not to do some business if some business need to be done with somebody. You know what I'm saying? If they got to do some business, I'm not going to tell a man not to do his business if it's, you know, worthwhile. They not going to do the business if it don't need to be done, if something's going on with me or vice versa, right? So, you know, I started seeing a few little things, but I was like, you know, I think in my heart,
So Wack is telling us, the almighty Wack 100, you know, the smartest guy on the internet in this content shit, he means to tell us that he's seen all of these red flags with Luce Cannon, and he still dealt with him up until he claimed that Luce Cannon tried to spin him on a deal. That's when we seen stuff go bad. When Luce Cannon's wife, or whoever Sharice is to him, got online and said that they had his house surrounded, Wack claims that was the same day that they were supposed to meet and close a business deal where Luce and his wife owed Wack some money. We didn't see any chink in the armor, if that's the right word, until that day. But now he's saying he's seen all these red flags that we've been all seeing. Come on.
genuinely was trying to help Luce and trying to like show him another way. like on some genuine shit. You know, looking back at it all and understanding some things I understood, but I just didn't want to call it that. You know, I gave Luce the benefit of the doubt. 10 out of 10 people was telling me things and I heard them, but I didn't hold it against him. You get what I'm saying? Even the situation here, right? This is my place of business. Like that shouldn't happen.
Okay, but question.
You get what I'm saying?
A lot has been made of.
But when it happened, he talking about the Jay Reed situation. But when that happened, Wack, you was the main person saying that, oh, no, we didn't call him up there. Dude came up there. Luce ain't do nothing wrong. He hit him on Gangsta Crip. And Luce hit him on Neighborhood Crip. Like, oh, you want to be content. You made all these excuses for that situation. But now that Luce has responded to you for going that big booty Sharice, now all of a sudden you seen all these red flags and he's doing stuff at your place of business and you wasn't feeling it. Let's go.
Luce and suggests that he may be a compulsive liar. That's definitely what his brother and his ex-wife have to say. Was there ever a moment in your relationship with him where you're like, holy shit, this fool lies a lot and about things he doesn't need to lie about?
It was things and I wouldn't say nothing because in my head I can fix it.
And you fucking with him, so it's like I don't want to be friends with a liar.
It's a lot of shit. Like it was like simple shit, but in my head, because I saw him as like and not trying to little boy him, I saw him like a student, right? And like, okay, he may don't know how to get in the 3-point stance, but if I keep working with him, he gonna get it.
Right.
Like it was. I can name a list of things, right? But I was like, I can fix it. And he wouldn't know it. Sometimes I wait a week and I get in front of him and I tell him. But then another few times it was like, and some shit I didn't pay attention to. Like, I'm like, yo, bro, you got a twin brother? Nah, he's 10 years older than me. I'm 32, he's 42. So I'm like this, bro, if I ask you that and
crazy.
You tell me that, it ain't that I believe you. It's just I don't think you would bullshit me about that, right?
Right.
So that wasn't nothing I was trying to research. People was telling me, I'm like,
man, we all knew Luce Cannon was a 70s baby, man. Nah, I'm just playing. We all knew that he was 42, though. We all knew he was lying about his age, Wack, and you knew he was lying, too. Now, if you cared, if that mattered to you or not, that's one thing. But come on, don't sit up and act like you stupid.
Like, well, what difference do it make if he is or he isn't, right? But then as time goes on and you start seeing things, you be like, you know, because now when you go to jail, your shit pop up.
Right.
So it's like, damn, you really are 42. So then you ask yourself, well, damn, you know, why would he? Then, but I blow it out. Oh, fuck it, ain't nothing. It's just he bullshitting about his age, right? Whatever, right? Maybe because he was a artist or whatever, right? The Luce Cannon, far as him being a producer, I would tell people, no, he really produced music. Like, you know, he didn't produce a couple songs, right?
Do you ever witness it?
No, I never witnessed it, but he would tell me going to the studio and he come out there with a song. Now, as far as he never had a conversation with me about these big names. He would just say he did this song with Nip and he would tell me he did.
I'm getting pissed off just listening to Wack trying to bullshit us about like what Luce Cannon told him and how he didn't think nothing of it, or he didn't think, like, you knew he was lying, but for the benefit of going at Eugene Henley Jr., Big U, Hannibal, all the other names that's in the indictment, you chose to turn a blind eye to his lies because he was benefiting you at going at Big U.
The song, because he didn't produce the song. The song was produced by one of my old producers.
Right.
A dude named Buckwheat. They call him Press Play now.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that song was produced by Buckwheat. It was him rapping, featuring Nip and YG. But he would just tell me he had a song with Nip, right? And YG. So, but like, he never would tell me, yo, I produced for Mariah Carey,
Nas, Drake.
Nas, and nah, he told me he been in the studio with Drake. I don't know. I don't know how true that is, but he said he's been in the studio with Drake. Which, shit, being in the studio with an artist could come many different ways.
Because I don't want to just take other people's word for it that Luce is a huge liar. But like,
there's a lot of shit going on.
When I really sat back on my stream that I did earlier this week, I sat back and watched the interview with his ex-wife, and the things that she's saying, it just sounded so real. Like when I think about the people I've known throughout my life who are liars, and the way that she was talking about how, he said he got shot 10 times, and then something would happen where she realized that wasn't true, and so you'd say, no, I said I got shot at 10 times, and like just constantly moving the goalposts and just kind of.
But she's a clout chaser too. But keep going.
Like fudging the details. I don't know. And now it's like, he's going at Brick with a bunch of shit that, from my perspective, is fake, like this transgender, saying that Brick's got some trans pussy in there. I mean, I really doubt it.
Well, here's the thing with that, right?
If he did, I would be proud of him.
No, I listen, right?
Okay.
Because I've been a victim of this a lot of times. First, they start with one thing, and then when that don't work, they add to that. Then that don't work, then they add to it. So the first time the Brick thing was addressed, it was originally Brick, instead of asking the Crips for some hair grease, he went and asked the transgender for some grease.
Right.
Right? That's all it was. Who he went and asked for some grease. So when Luce ran the narrative on Brick, that he kicked Brick out the cell, which I'm like, damn, that was kind of crazy, because they was in there. It's obvious they was like running content. We're going to say we sellies.
Yeah.
Hey, what's the other fake shit? Which I didn't understand when he kept saying Big U trying to get Brick to sign some paperwork. And I'm telling myself, what kind of paperwork would an inmate have for another inmate to sign on that side of the wall, right?
But it's crazy because saying we're running content is the best excuse for just lying.
Right,
because as soon as you say we're running content, that's the perfect way to excuse it.
But see, that's the new wave shit, right?
Yeah,
we're going to get to that.
New.
So the thing was, him, Big U and Brick was in the same place. Me and Brick are cellies, and I'm getting into it with Big U because he's trying to get Brick to sign some paperwork, right? So I already said, well, I know they're in the same pod or whatever together. Them being cellies, they could be, might not be, right? I left it at that. I never believed that Big U was directly with them.
That would seem massively irresponsible on behalf of the staff.
Yeah, I didn't.
Nobody thought that Big U was directly with them. I know damn sure I didn't. And the majority of the audience didn't. And we all knew that it was a content thing that Luce Cannon was running. But again, I just got to go back to my original statement. When the content benefited Wack, it was all good up until it didn't benefit him no more. Y'all got to see this, man. Like, this dude, like, keeps certain people around him to use them for what he wants to use them for, and then when he used them up, then it's over with. At the end of the day, I could have never aligned myself with nobody like Luce Cannon from the beginning.
I didn't, but I'm listening to it, right?
Right.
So initially it was Brick went to get some hair grease. Then it went to when he said he rolled Brick out the cell. I think it took a while for Brick to hear about it, and when Brick responded and said, nah, not only did he not roll me out the cell, his hand ain't broke, ain't no Big U here, ain't been no fight. When Brick started kind of clearing the board, that's when no, I'm lying. Allegedly, Brick says Luce turned down a fade with somebody from Blackstone. And then Luce turned down a fade with Brick Baby. I didn't believe that either. I didn't believe that, right? So then Luce ramped it up. Yeah, we got rid of you because you was over there trying to screw the transgender. Now I get ramped. It went from asking them for hair grease to now you trying to. But I'm watching it. One thing I can say, when Brick came out to say what he gonna say, he said it all. And he ain't said nothing since then. So at that point, Luce ramped it up. Do I believe that Brick asked the transgender for some hair grease? Yes. Do I believe that he tried to do some sexual shit with the transgender? No, I don't.
Didn't nobody believe that shit, man.
I don't believe that.
This already
I
was a
don't know.
narrative on the podcast, though. At a certain point, there was this rumor that Brick had basically like been fucking with a trans person or some shit, or getting his hair braided by a trans person. And Brick came out with his actual version of the story, if I'm not mistaken, where he had been getting his hair braided by someone, and then he found out that the person who was braiding his hair was fucking with punks. And that made him uncomfortable, and he stopped getting his hair braided by them or whatever, which is a far cry from fucking a trans person.
This is why he was in jail.
Years ago. This is before he got locked up.
Why he was in jail? Why he was on the street?
Which I don't know if Lush or if Luce is just conflating these two stories and just kind of like rolling with that one.
Wait. So Brick said he had a man braiding his hair while he was on the street.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. While he was in jail.
In jail.
Yeah.
And then he found out, dude. Okay, I can see that.
Which is
he found out, dude.
Yeah.
I can see that. He found out.
You can't braid your own hair.
No. I ain't got nothing against
whatever.
Bro, we all do that. If you know how to braid, you making money. We pay niggas in there, the barbers and the comb and the razor and braid. But I can see Bricks finding out. Oh, you got a punk in the cell. I'm cool on you.
Okay, and I think obviously if there is a trans woman in your cell, like as in if there's a person in your cell who is originally a woman and now presents as a man, but they still have a vagina.
Oh, you getting hit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I wouldn't hold it against Brick if he's fucking a vagina.
But that's not going to happen in the men's facility.
Why not?
They're not going to put nobody with a vagina in the men's facility.
I think they shouldn't, but what if they did?
All right, this conversation getting a little weird. I'm going to let them have that, man.
I've seen them do is put transgender men with they plumbing in a woman's facility.
Yeah, see, I would hold it against Brick if he was banging
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you got a vagina in your cell.
But you dress like a man, but you have a vagina.
Listen,
we go
talk
that
about
vagina
in the penitentiary, right? In the penitentiary. That vagina's going to get hit.
We got to.
You in the penitentiary.
I'm at the front of the line.
Get
me in there.
Listen, you in prison?
Coach. Yeah.
That's gonna happen. But no, I don't think
it's gonna be a very popular gentleman.
I don't think now, one of the dudes in there said Brick told him guys this was making Google him because all the Crips.
What is grease? Like
it's moist for you.
A lot of hair. Okay. Pomade.
Magic. So then. And they was that mad about it, then why they didn't DP him?
He should have been holding on to that.
This was crazy. Put it in the thing, right?
Mm.
So when I tell Gigi this, because Gigi said, well, why did you believe it? And I told her this, right?
Now that we know so much more about Luce Cannon, doesn't it seem exceedingly unlikely that Big about Luce
back off of it? We could take a deuce 3 minutes to turn into 30.
Now that we know so much more about Luce Cannon, doesn't it seem exceedingly unlikely that Big U actually placed this phone call about Nipsey right before Nipsey died?
Exactly.
Listen, I'm going to tell you why I believed him at the time. And
now Wack is going to spin the narrative.
Today, on my way here, Gigi told me some shit that changed that. Okay. Cease and desist come to you, right? Yep. At the same time, he tells me Urban Flicks gets a cease and desist. So I'm like, okay, cease and desist go to Adam to pull him down, talking about it. Then Urban Flicks gets one so they won't put it in the thing, right?
Mm.
So when I tell Gigi this, because Gigi said, well, why did you believe it? And I told her this, right? And she said, no, Wack, Urban Flicks did get a cease and desist. But it was from me, not Big U.
Oh.
So they got a cease and desist. He just tell me it's from Big U. So my ideology is like, if Adam got one to pull that down and Urban Flicks got one to not to play it, it must exist. It must be there. So I said, well, Gigi, what kind of cease and desist did you serve Urban Flicks? She said all the footage with Black China, all the footage that was shot in our home in Riverside or wherever they live, right? I called the cameraman. The cameraman said Luce Cannon never paid him.
Now, I don't know about y'all, man, but this Gigi chick, which is supposed to be the ex-wife or the real wife or whatever, I tried listening to her content or watching her content. Man, I'm gonna just be all the way honest. Let me say this, man. I don't believe her as much as I don't believe Luce Cannon. Like, if you know he's a liar and you laid down with him and had a baby, I mean, I don't know if she had got a child. I don't think she got a child with him, but you married him, and you knew he was a liar. That would lead me to believe like you and him share some type of similarities with each other. Like you a condoner lying, you helping him lie or something, and at the same time, she's a clout chaser. Like a real woman would have never kicked off her YouTube career talking about Luce Cannon and how much of a liar Luce Cannon was. Like it's just giving clout to me. Like, and even if you go to her Instagram page, she has like theatrical like lead ups until like, all right, this is gonna be part 1 of the Luce Cannon documentary. Like she's making a whole documentary about being with Luce Cannon. Dude ain't even that important though.
So I, in fact, paid the cameraman and brought all the footage. I then serviced Urban Flicks and said, if any of this footage is in this show, I'm going to sue you. I own it. So, yeah, it was a cease and desist there. But the whole time I'm thinking, Big, you served Urban Flicks to cease and desist. See, with you getting one and them getting one, I'm like, okay, he don't want Luce talking about it, and he don't want them putting it up. But come to find out, the cease and desist that went to Urban Flicks was from Gigi. Had nothing to do with Big U. So Big U cease and desist that he served you was really in the right lane because he's saying it's a lie. If he's saying it's a lie, then it's defamation. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So once she told me this shit today, I'm like, oh shit. She said, yeah, Wack. I said, yeah, I thought he said, no, that's what he told y'all because it fit. Right. So, you know, dude is kind of like, he's sharp in some ways, he's shallow in some, but the crazy part about him, God willing, he gonna be most dangerous in his old age. Because as an elderly person, you're more prone to believe certain shit. Where he falling short at is he don't know how to see when what's in front of him is really what could change his life. That's genuinely there for him.
Because
I told y'all, Wack actually had love for Luce Cannon. He just basically told us he didn't see what was in front of him talking about Wack, saying he could have changed his life. See, all this narrative that Wack trying to run with is like, I don't never forget, you know what I mean, that what you said about me before we got cool, and I just sat back and waited and whoop-de-whoop, whatever. Wack is just saying that. At the end of the day, Wack was really genuinely trying to fuck with Luce Cannon.
He spent so many years trying to make it, and then you realistically help his trajectory so much.
Yeah, bro.
Put him in a position that he had been working towards trying to get into for all these years.
He did everything under the sun. Diss me, do this, do that, do this. Nothing worked until boom. And I start positioning. I could have told Luce, hey, yo, Wack, this podcast, I could have told him no. I could have told him no. Nah. But I'm like, okay, Wack, you committed to build him, to growing him. Right? So, fuck it. I never forget, I was in like, I don't know where I was at. I was somewhere like Long Beach or some shit when he called me about the Haters World. And it's like 3:30. Them fools is way in Riverside, San Bernardino. So here I said, all right, bro, I'm gonna make it. It took me like 2.5 hours to get there in traffic, but I went for him. I didn't go do that podcast for me. Adam, if you think about it, you never seen what you seen Wack here, Bootleg Kev, Academics, $1 million worth of game, right. Drink Champs.
Yeah.
You didn't see me, Vlad. Right. You didn't see me with the little shit. I didn't know them dudes, but Luce would call. He was
if
like,
you want to talk, you got plenty of places to do it. You don't have to reach out to other podcasts.
You know, he would even send me links. You know, like it's a dude, cool dude out of New York, Blue, OG Blue. You know, these cats that got 200-300 subs. He's like, yo, Wack, could you pull up? So what I'm seeing, okay, if Luce could run around and talk to people and say, I can get Wack to pull up right now, right? And I actually pull up, then that gave Luce value. You get what I'm saying? So, and I did it. You know, not that I needed to do it or wanted to do it. You know, it been like 1 or 2 times he called with some cats that wanted to pay me, but I wasn't crazy because listening to the number they wanted to pay me, I know bro got paid. But what I wouldn't do is kill it or demand more because I knew he was getting, even though he wasn't telling me, we know this game. So I'm not tripping. You know what? Fuck it. It's an hour. I ain't doing nothing. He making some crumbs. I make some crumbs, whatever. I send the shit to my daughter for her spending money, some bullshit, no problem. But I did everything I was supposed to do. The crazy part about it is right now, when he's in a serious situation, his decision making on how he directed his team was very poor. He a hustler, I'm a hustler. I'm a different type of hustler. I'm over here in corporate land.
He's got the IBM guys, whoever that may be.
Whatever that may be.
Kind of wilding out on social media, saying stuff that probably should not be said.
Half of them dudes, them IBM dudes on line, I don't know about. Well, really, I'm gonna just say all the ones I can see is lame as fuck. Like all the ones I can visually see. I really don't know who none of those IBM dudes is, to be honest with y'all. But all the ones that's doing content, all the ones I've seen on panels and shit like that going live on YouTube, they all lame as hell.
Yeah, that's cool. Nobody hears it.
Right.
I got it. They're mad because I won't respond to it. But again, it's like, I'm not coming down a hill that you can't get up. Right? And I swim with the children a lot. You know, I go out there in the shallow end and I toss the little ball and...
All right, we done with it right there, man. But get in the comment section, man. I like how, like I said, Wack is good at spinning the narrative, man. And that's exactly what we see going on right here today on the No Jumper Adam and Wack show, man. Get in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think about this, man. Y'all already know what it is, what's going on with it. Ruler Gang.